Welcome back to the Marching to Madness College Basketball Podcast, where I have another one of my good friends, Coach Kevin Keatts of the North Carolina State Wolfpack. They're 13-4, and they grabbed wins number 12 and number 13 over Duke and Virginia Tech in the past week. Terquavian Smith and Jarkel Joyner combined for 44 in the win over Duke. DJ Burns steps up with 18. Then the backcourt duo had 43 in the win at Virginia Tech. Tough place to play. Coach, welcome back.
Well, hey, Ken, thanks for having me, and I'm glad that you're doing a lot better. And it's always a pleasure to be on here talking to you.
Thank you very much. I'm doing better, and I love getting that Wolfpack scenario, from you each time we talk, and just talking some hoops.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'm ready. So shoot with your questions. I know you got plenty, and we're gonna talk some Wolfpack basketball this morning.
Yes, sir. 84-60 win over Duke last week. We mentioned the scores, but you held Duke to 39.6% with your defense. You had a 20-2 lead in the first 10 minutes of the game.
Yeah, you know what? We were locked in defensively. I thought we did a really good job. I thought our guys really comprehended and have picked up on scouting reports. Thought we played with a little bit more physicality. Was really proud of our guys. We ended that game, and I think I've said this before, I thought this was our best complete defensive game since I've been here, where we played for both halves, Yeah.
That's cool. Then you go to a 73-69 win in Blacksburg over Virginia Tech, where again Terquavian Smith and Jarkel Joyner are key with combining for 43 points. What types of matchups from opposing defenses have these two young men seen?
Well, they both are unique, and here's why they both are special to us, because we can play either one of them at the point and the other guy off the ball at any time. But their ability to, drive the basketball, their ability to make shots, their ability to play together is what's really been really special for us, especially as of late. They've seen all types of defenses, and people will trap them at times, but they always find ways to impact the game. And I think the unique thing about them and the really special thing about them is they both have become willing passers. And, you look at Jarkel, he's had a game against Duke with 9 assists and 0 turnovers. And Terquavian has completely listened to the NBA guys, and he has a 2-to-1 assist to turnover ratio. And so that's what makes them really unique, is because they play off each other, but they also have the ability to get their teammates involved.
I love watching Terquavian play, and Jarkel too. Terquavian operates at a high level. As he's one of the top players in college basketball for fans, basketball aficionados, professional people to watch with those playmaking skills. But he scores 18.6 points per game, sets the table consummately with that 4.8 assists per game average.
Yeah, he's become really unique. Everybody knows him as a scorer. He's always been one. But I'll top down on a couple of things. He's also become, been a winner in his career in high school, and, winning, 3 state championships. Always have been an underdog. People didn't think he was, number one, good enough to play in the ACC or big enough. And he's always overcame that. And, he makes shots, and he makes tough shots. And, I think that's what makes him unique, but he's a competitor also.
You mentioned he won 3 state championships. The winning that presents, how tough is that for a kid to translate to the next level?
Well, I think winning has a place in everywhere you go, because you have a winning pedigree and you know how to play and you know how to compete. And I think that certainly helps. I think when it gets into tough situation, winners, when the game gets tough, guys who are used to winning be like, all right, they feel confident, they have positive thoughts, we're going to win the game. Whereas in a guy who loses a lot says, here we go again. And in his situation, he's been locked in, and He's helped. Last year was tough on him and everybody around, and finally he's got some guys around him that have the same values and belief that he has, and we've worked extremely hard and building and bringing some transfers around and some older guys that we can field around him because he's really unique in what he does.
Now, Jarkel averaged 21 points per game last week in the two games we mentioned. Of his shots, as his athleticism allows him to find 8.1 attempts per game inside the 3-point line.
Yeah, he's a throwback. I mean, guy can get to a pull up like he's one of those guys that got that 15-foot mid range shot that typically guys haven't been able to shoot here lately. But what I love about him is he doesn't settle for 3-point shots. He can also I call him a 3-level scorer because he can get to the rim and get to the free throw line. Also has a pull up game, but if you need to, he can step up and make a 3-point shot. Also, by doing all of that, he's really also a good defender on the defensive end, and he's typically the guy who does a good job on the point of our defense.
Mm-hmm. Casey Morsell is another solid player in the backcourt. He's shooting better. He looks to me like he's more relaxed in playing with these two players in Smith and Joyner. Just wanted to know, as he's shooting 50% from the floor, what has caused him to be able to take off at that point?
Well, when he's the second best shooter on the team besides me, it's always tough. How that goes. Nah, I'm only kidding. He's worked really hard on his game. He played for a great program at UVA, but they played completely different than us. And I think he's starting to learn how to play fast and be able to make his shots. I want to say as a freshman, he shot it pretty decent from the 3-point line, and then at UVA, and then he struggled his second year. I think he's learning how to play the way we want to play and to be able to shoot the ball that way.
DJ Burns at 6'9", 260. He's such a solid threat inside. I remember him coming in at Tennessee, then to Winthrop, I think. And he's a tough matchup with that size, and he shoots 57% from the field.
Yeah, he can score the ball, Ken. He's got a great touch. He's got great footwork, can really score the basketball. Was the Big South Player of the Year last year. Helped Winthrop win a lot of games. And, what's been good about him is he also, even though he scores the ball, it's a little bit hard to double team him because he's a really good passer out of it,
Mm-hmm. Anytime you have a big man who can pass as well as score, he's like a jewel, I think.
Absolutely. And he's got great touch. He may have the best touch I've ever seen of anyone his size.
Now, Jack Clark has started all 15 of your games so far. So discuss the attributes that he brings, as he's also a leading rebounder, 7.3 per game, 59.6% from inside the arc, which is right there with Burns as a tough matchup.
Yeah, Jack's had a good year for us. Obviously he's missed the last couple games with a kind of a growing injury. But his ability at 6'9" to stretch the defense out, to be able to shoot the ball. He's a really good offensive rebounder. He's done a really good job in that area. Kind of a, even though his name is Jack, he's kind of a jack of all trades. He can do a little bit of everything. And he's been very valuable for us because we use him in a lot of different ways. Can play some 4, can play some 3, runs the floor, super athletic. And we're hoping to get him back on the floor soon.
You and your staff have always stood out to me in player development and how you make players better talents. So when you start with a player who comes in, whether it's a transfer or a high school kid, what are some of the things you look at immediately in any player to develop?
Well, if he's willing to learn, development. We do take pride in it as a staff and everywhere that I've been, even going back to my Hargrave days when we were prep school guys. But you also have to have a kid that's willing to listen and learn. and understand that it's going to take a lot of hard work to get wherever we want him to go as a team, and then wherever he wants to go personally. But I think the hardest thing is, I like guys that have 100% buy-in. If you can give me 100% buy-in and you're willing to work, we can help you achieve your goals and become a better player.
When you look at guys who you have on your team, how do you consider analytics and how deep do you go with them?
Well, it's tricky. Coaches, we can use analytics when we want to use them.
Yeah.
And when we don't pay attention to them. I look at it more on our defensive numbers than our offensive numbers. How we're playing, we chart deflections, how's our defense? Do we defensive rebound? Do we get stops? Those type of things. What combinations on the floor are really better on the defensive end? Offensively, it's a little bit tricky because I think it comes down to what type of night the guys have in shooting the basketball. But I think you can get a little bit more consistent defensively. Your numbers defensively can be a little bit more consistent.
Coach, the ACC race feels like it's open among many more teams than maybe it generally has been in the past. As you look at the league, what makes this league have so much parity this season?
Well, I think and I don't think it's just us. I think it's just basketball in general with the transfer portal and then the opportunities with NIL. I think it's helped some people stay at their school that would have left, but it's also helped some of our teams get some players from other schools that they felt like they could come in and be able to play right away and to be able to help each program. And so I think the parity comes because of opportunities for NIL at certain situations, and then opportunity to be able to play right away. At NC State, we don't use NIL as a recruiting piece. That's just not what we do. But we do use the opportunity to come in and play in a style that we think will be fun for you to be able to play in.
Oh, definitely. Now, last question. You have Miami coming in on Saturday. Statistically, you guys were generally even when you played them earlier, but they outscored you by 7 at the free throw line. So as you look at the matchup, it's for a second time, what's the key when you match up with Isaiah Wong and Jordan Miller?
Yeah, I thought Wong and Miller were really good, and obviously the other guys are good too. But those two guys, I thought they hurt us in the second half, and we didn't do a good job of containing them. They both made big plays, and as expected, two guys who made a deep run last year, and veteran guys, and I don't know, Ken. It could be a completely different game. I think it was like 82, the 80s and 70s, we both probably would score 40 points the next time we play on Saturday.
Coach Kevin Keatts, ladies and gentlemen, he's got the Wolfpack hanging around there and causing problems for their opponents, as we have seen throughout the season. Coach, I appreciate your time, and I wish you the best.
Hey, Ken, thanks a lot, and I appreciate you, and continue to get stronger and stronger, buddy.
Thank you very much. I will.